Before you judge someone's life, you should make sure you actually know their story. Because this family thought their daughter was a failure. They mocked her. They pitted her. They told her to get a real job. What they didn't know was that she quietly owned a billion-dollar empire the whole time. This is not just a story. This is a reminder. Never underestimate the one you counted out. I pulled up to my parents' house for Christmas supper, carrying a small basket of winter pears and oranges I grabbed from a discount grocer on my way over. Nothing fancy, just something polite. At the same moment, my older sister Corinne rolled in behind me, stepping out of a brand new midnight blue Jaguar, her trunk stuffed with glossy gift bags tied in custom ribbon. She looked at my basket, then at me. "Still going for that minimalist lifestyle, huh, Jade?" she said, with that smile she only used when she wanted me to feel small. I didn't take the bait. I only nodded and kept walking. In my family, Corinne was the trophy daughter, the one with the financial planner husband, the 5-bedroom smart home in Maple Heights, the neighborhood association presidency, the perfect Instagram life. I was the question mark, the one people whispered about, the one still trying things out. Inside, the house smelled like herb-roasted chicken and my aunt's famous cinnamon yams. Every branch of the family tree was there, uncles, cousins, my younger brother Terrence and his wife Daphne. Everything went quiet when I walked in. "Jade, baby, you actually made it," my mother said, her voice polite but stunned. "We weren't sure if you'd be too caught up with whatever it is you're doing these days." "I wouldn't miss it," I replied, placing my fruit basket beside Corinne's display of high-end gifts wrapped like museum pieces. Uncle Vernon, already 2 glasses in, squinted at me. "So, you still doing that internet hustle? The what you call it again?" "Digital retail," I answered. Right. "Selling things online," he repeated, laughing. "My barbershop guy does that too. Makes a couple $100 a month selling beard oil. Cute hobby." People chuckled. I sat on the edge of the sofa and took the wine my cousin handed me. The TV in the corner was playing the Atlanta evening news muted under the chatter. Everyone was busy celebrating Corinne again. She had just been highlighted in a regional magazine as one of the top 50 women in finance under 40. "The photographer made me hold poses for almost 2 hours," Corinne said, showing her phone around. "They wanted the cover shot just right." "We're so proud of you," my father beamed. "Now that's success. A magazine cover, something real." My Aunt Beatrice turned toward me. "And you, sweetie, still in that little loft downtown?" "Yes," I said. "Well, that's sensible," she replied kindly. "Very practical for someone with modest income." She patted my hand like I was a charity flyer. Dinner started at 6 sharp. We gathered around the long table that only appeared on big holidays. I was placed at the far end, between my teenage cousin, who stayed glued to his phone, and Uncle Vernon, who had moved on to bourbon. "Dark meat chicken, Jade," my mom called loudly. "Or, are you still doing one of those fasting diets like the broke entrepreneurs do?" "Chicken is fine," I answered. Corinne, of course, sat beside my father, speaking loudly about her upcoming birthday trip to Bermuda. "You can't even book rooms there unless a member recommends you," she said with a smug sip of wine. "That's what I like to see," my father replied. "Work ethic. Climbing the ladder. Real investments." Terrence joined in, grinning. "Remember when Jade walked away from her corporate job to build something online?" He even used air quotes. "We beg her not to," my mother sighed. "A stable paycheck, benefits, and she just threw it away." "How long has it been now?" 7 years, I said calmly, cutting my chicken. 7. "Oh, baby," Corinne shook her head dramatically. "You're almost 35. Don't you think it's time to get serious again? I can ask Lionel's firm if they need someone at the front desk." Her husband, who had arrived late, nodded like a king granting mercy. "Always happy to help family," he said. "But we must be realistic about our limitations." The table hummed with approval. I stayed quiet. The meal became a parade of achievements. Terrence had won his 2nd promotion. Beatrice's daughter entered medical school. Corinne's renovation, just the kitchen, cost more than my yearly rent. Every few minutes, someone looked at me the way church people look at someone they're praying for. Time to quit playing around. Uncle Vernon suddenly announced, lifting his fork toward my face. Dreams are nice, but eventually you need a real retirement plan. Real income. Jade's always had her head in the clouds. My aunt nodded. When she was little, she was always writing fairy tales and pretending to run businesses. Some people never grow out of that. After dinner, everyone moved into the living room for dessert and coffee. The TV was still playing in the background, now on the evening news hour, while my mother placed slices of her pecan apple pie onto porcelain plates like we were posing for a holiday catalog. Corinne launched right into another story. We had the flooring flown in from Portugal, she said proudly. The contractor said he'd never seen marble that pure. If you have the means, Lionel added, arm around her shoulder, there's no reason not to invest in quality. Everyone nodded. I accepted a small slice of pie and sat in the second-hand armchair in the corner, the one facing away from the circle of family conversation. It was always my seat at holidays. Jade, honey, my mother called across the room. Have you thought about taking some formal business classes? Maybe learn real skills? I smiled faintly. I run a business, Mom. You run something, she corrected. But I worry about you living dollar to dollar like that. No pension. No health plan. At your age. I'm fine, Mom. Fine, my father repeated loudly. Fine isn't success. You're 35 years old. Look at your sister. Married, wealthy, respected in her field. Corinne took a delicate sip of coffee. I just followed the blueprint, Jade. Smart choices, smart marriage, corporate structure. Nothing wrong with that. Exactly, Lionel said. A proven path, not those unstable internet ideas. My cousin's wife chimed in. I read an article that said 90% of online sellers earn less than minimum wage once you count hours. That's what I've been saying, my mother nearly shouted. You're wasting your best earning years. No retirement, no property, nothing to show for your life. Uncle Vernon raised a glass, as if this were a toast. You're not a business owner, Jade. You're playing shop. You need reality. Several voices murmured in agreement. I set my pie down untouched. Corinne laughed lightly. It is playing pretend though, right? We love you, but someone needs to say it. You're too old to be chasing fantasies. My aunt leaned toward me, voice soft but condescending. We're not judging you, sweetie. It's just sad, watching you waste time. My father clapped his hands once, loudly. Enough. Here is what happens next. The room quieted. New year. New plan. Jade will apply for real jobs. I don't care if it's entry level. Something stable. Terrence can get her an interview at his bank. Terrence nodded solemnly, like he was offering rescue. We always need customer reps. It's honest work, sis. The TV announcer spoke over the tension. Coming up next, an in-depth profile of the most mysterious business success story of the decade. How one woman quietly built a global empire worth billions. Nobody paid attention. Corinne was already explaining her Malibu anniversary trip and how exclusive the resort was. The room filled with bragging again. I sat quietly until the TV spoke my name. Tonight, we feature an exclusive report on Jade Williams, founder and CEO of Orion Vantage Systems, whose revolutionary global tech expansion has redefined the sustainability market. A soft clatter rang out. My mother had dropped a dessert plate. On screen, a drone shot panned across a massive ultra-modern headquarters. Glass, steel, solar roof panels. The caption read, Orion Vantage Campus, Cape Town, South Africa. What? Terrence whispered. That's Jade's name, my cousin said slowly. That can't be her, Corinne snapped. Common name. Then the screen changed. It showed me in a charcoal suit, standing beside the Prime Minister of Canada, cutting a ribbon at a tech summit. The caption read, Jade Williams, 35, founder and CEO, Orion Vantage Systems. The room went silent. The narrator continued. 7 years ago, she quietly resigned from a mid-level marketing job to pursue what her family assumed was a small online project. What they didn't know was that Williams had already spent 3 years developing proprietary green manufacturing technology and securing supply chains across 3 continents. The footage shifted to massive, spotless facilities, robotics, clean energy turbines, workers in branded uniforms. Within 2 years, the reporter said, her company secured government eco-contracts across Africa and Europe. Within 5, she launched in North America. Today, Orion Vantage Systems operates in 22 countries, employs over 60,000 workers, and produces sustainable tech components used by Fortune 100 companies worldwide. The latest valuation? $9.4 billion. My uncle's bourbon glass froze halfway to his lips. Corinne stopped breathing mid-sentence. My mother sat down hard. The screen showed me speaking at a UN conference, then shaking hands with the president, then standing in front of a factory employing thousands. She is one of the youngest self-made black female billionaires in history, the reporter said. Silence. I took another sip of water. I waited for someone to speak. No one did. So I did. Yes, I said softly. That jade. For 5 full seconds, nobody in that living room made a sound. Then everything exploded at once. That can't be real, Uncle Vernon whispered. 9 billion? With a V. My mother's voice shook. You own that company? You? I placed my fork down gently. Yes. Corinne's face twisted, her voice straining to stay composed. You sat here and let us think you were broke, struggling, all these years. You assumed, I said calmly. I never corrected you. That's manipulation, she snapped. No, I replied. That's silence. Terrence was frantically Googling. Oh my God. Jade, your name is on every major tech publication. They call you the architect of the green future. Lionel's jaw tightened. She's got government contracts. She's on the Black Enterprise Billionaires list. She was keynote speaker at Davos. He swallowed. I offered you receptionist work. I nodded once. You did. My Aunt Beatrice had tears in her eyes. We thought you were barely getting by. I know. Uncle Vernon slammed back a gulp of bourbon. That little apartment you live in, why would a billionaire live like that? Because, I said, I don't need strangers knowing what I have. Privacy is wealth. My mother's voice cracked. You brought a $7 fruit basket. I like fruit, I answered. The report continued in the background. Williams built a philanthropic arm that has donated nearly $1 billion to STEM education across underserved communities. My cousin's wife gasped. You're building schools in Ghana. 3 so far, I said. A 4th next year. Corinne's face went from red to white. This is sick, she said. You let us worry. Let us pity you. Yes, I said, meeting her eyes. I wanted to know, would you love me if I failed? Terrence stopped scrolling. They call you the most underestimated entrepreneur alive. The room fell silent again. Then, ding-dong. The doorbell rang. My mother jumped, flustered, wiping her eyes before answering. She returned with 2 people in professional attire carrying camera equipment. Ms. Williams, the young woman said warmly. I'm Mia Brooks with Channel 7. We spoke last week about capturing footage of you in a family setting for tonight's broadcast. My entire family froze. Mia continued. We just need 5 minutes of casual family interaction. Something warm and authentic to humanize the profile. You could feel the oxygen leave the room. Corinne stood so quickly her wine glass tipped over. No, we're not being recorded. Not after we. She stopped herself too late. Lionel cleared his throat. Perhaps we should discuss this privately. Mia blinked, confused. Is this a bad time? I stood. It's not necessary anymore. You already have plenty of footage. You're sure? Yes. This isn't the moment for staged family warmth. Her eyes flicked around the room, reading everything. She nodded, packed up quietly, and left. The silence after the door shut was heavier than before. My mother tried first. Jade, sweetheart, this is wonderful. Sit. Tell us everything. We want to understand. Do you? I asked softly. We're family, she said weakly. We've always been here for you. I almost laughed. 3 hours ago you said I was wasting my life and embarrassing the family. That was before. Before you knew I was rich. No one answered. Corinne pulled herself together, voice trembling with outrage. You deceived us. No, I said. I watched. Same thing. Is it? I asked calmly. When you won your HOA election, did you tell me every campaign detail? When Terrence got promoted, did he send me his salary breakdown? Or did you all just share what you wanted to share and expect support? Terrence shifted. That's different. How? I asked. He said nothing. My father tried using his wise parent voice. I think we all said things we regret. No, I corrected him. You said what you believed when you thought I was a failure. Uncle Vernon lifted his glass. Look, let's move forward. You're successful. We're proud. Now what? I turned my head slowly. Now you want access. That's not fair, Aunt Beatrice cried. Family helps each other. Did anyone help me when I was building this company? I asked quietly. Not money, respect. Time. Basic belief. Silence. I ate holidays at the farthest seat. I continued. I heard the jokes, the pity, the lectures about reality. And I stayed silent. I said, because I wanted to learn who loved me and who loved success. Corinne finally broke. She stood, shaking. You're cruel. I looked her dead in the eye. You called me an embarrassment tonight. I didn't know you were a billionaire. That was the point, I said softly. The TV announcer spoke again. In 1 hour, we air the full documentary on Jade Williams, The Empire in Silence. The room just stared at the television. No one spoke. I reached for the remote. I suggest you watch, I said. No one moved. No one breathed. I picked up the remote, raised the volume just as the Channel 7 special report theme played. Tonight, the Silent Empire, inside the billion-dollar vision of Jade Williams. My family watched, trapped. The screen filled with sweeping drone footage of a massive solar-powered manufacturing campus, 40 acres of mirrored glass and greenery. She's called the most quietly influential entrepreneur in modern sustainability, a woman who built a global tech powerhouse without a single public announcement. The scene cut to a factory floor. Automated robotics, clean energy lines, employees in bright uniforms, mostly young, mostly people of color, working in spotless conditions. My mother gasped. She had assumed I sold candles on Etsy. The narrator continued. Orion Vantage Systems now produces over 60% of the world's biodegradable tech casings used in luxury electronics. Another shot. A school in rural Ghana. Children in uniforms. A plaque on the wall. Funded by the Williams Foundation. My aunt put her hands over her mouth. They continued. $937 million donated to environmental and educational causes, 18 research labs, 7 community hospitals built across Kenya, Peru, and Sri Lanka. My brother whispered, Jade has a global infrastructure. They showed footage of me speaking at the Global Sustainability Summit. Me on screen. We are proving that technology can be ethical, profitable, and built without exploitation. Cut to a clip of Barack Obama shaking my hand. My mother inhaled sharply, like she had been stabbed. Then the segment shifted. Despite her enormous wealth, Williams lives in a modest apartment, drives a 6-year-old sedan, and avoids publicity. Former co-workers say she once told them, the world doesn't need to see me to feel my impact. My father blinked like he'd just regained consciousness. She never wanted attention, he whispered. Forbes calls her. The billionaire you could be sitting next to right now. Then, a childhood photo of me. Braids. Dollar store sneakers. Big smile. The caption read, grew up in East Orlando, public schools, raised by working parents. My mother broke. She put her face in her hands and sobbed. That's my baby, she whispered. That's my baby. And we treated her like... She couldn't finish. The narrator continued. Williams has been criticized for hiding her status even from friends and family. The screen cut to a clip of me in a recorded interview. I stayed quiet because I needed to know who loved me, not what I owned. Every person in that room went still. It was the most perfect silence I had ever heard. The documentary ended. The credits rolled. My phone buzzed. A text from my assistant. Viewership just broke records. Trending #1 worldwide. I stood. Nobody else did. My mother wiped her face and rushed toward me, voice shaking. Jade, please just talk to us. I looked at her gently. I am talking. My father's voice broke. We were wrong. All of us. We never asked you real questions. We never listened. That's true, I said. Corinne stood, eyes swollen with pride and shame wrestling inside her. We were cruel. I was cruel. Yes, I said. You were. Tears began to stream down her face. But I didn't know. That was the test, I said softly. Terrence tried a different angle. What do we do now? You live, I replied. And you sit with the truth of who you were to me when you thought I had nothing. My aunt whispered, we love you. I turned slowly. No, I said. You love what you saw on television. My mother dropped to her knees beside my chair and grabbed my hand. I am begging you, she sobbed. Let us fix this. Let us try. I spoke calmly. You didn't care when you thought I was small. You didn't defend me. You didn't even ask how my business was going. You mocked me to my face. Lionel stepped forward, voice suddenly gentle. We want to rebuild trust. No, I said. You want access. You want association. You want the story of being close to me more than you ever wanted me. The silence that followed was thick and sharp. Then I stood. I'm leaving soon. My father panicked. When will we see you again? I don't know. Corinne stepped forward. Are we cut off forever? No, I replied. You are not cut off. You are seen. And that is harder. They didn't understand. Not yet. But they would. I put on my coat. The room stared like a congregation waiting for absolution. No one got it. Not tonight. I walked toward the front door. Not rushed. Not angry. Just done. Behind me, my mother cried into her hands. My father stared at the carpet like it held answers. Corinne kept whispering, this can't be real, this can't be real. Terrence stood frozen, the way a child freezes after breaking something valuable. I opened the door. Cold December air swept inside. Jade, wait. My mother begged, voice cracking. We're your family. I paused. Family, I repeated softly, isn't proved when everything is good. It's proved when someone has nothing to offer you but themselves. They had no response. Not a single person in that room had defended me when I supposedly had nothing. Not one. I stepped outside. Please, Corinne whispered, voice raw, just give us a chance to make it right. I turned slightly. You had 6 years. And I left. My car, a simple gray sedan with no logos, sat under a street lamp like it had been waiting patiently for the moment I would finally choose myself. I got in, started the engine. A lifetime of judgment stayed behind that front door. My phone lit up. 20 missed calls. 14 texts. From everyone. Purple Circle Mom. I love you. We were wrong. Please come back inside. Purple Circle Dad. We just want to talk. We're so sorry. Purple Circle Corinne. Tell me what to do. Anything. I'll do anything. Purple Circle Terrence. Sis, I was stupid. I know better now. Can we meet? Purple Circle Uncle Vernon. Forget what I said earlier. I was drunk and ignorant. The irony made me exhale a single, humorless laugh. Because I knew the truth. They weren't apologizing for what they'd done. They were apologizing because they now knew who I was. That is not the same thing. I placed the phone face down. The road stretched ahead. I drove. I woke up to sunlight pouring through the windows of my modest apartment. Made coffee in the same chipped mug I'd used for 8 years. Opened my laptop. Logged into the secure portal for Orion Vantage corporate operations. While my parents were still wiping mascara and shame from their faces, I was reviewing. Updated projections for our clean tech facility in Lagos, final contracts for renewable energy components in Seoul, a proposal for a $300 million STEM grant for historically black colleges. My company didn't pause for family drama. Empires don't wait for emotional clarity. Halfway through a financial document, my assistant called. Viewership hit 62 million live, he said. We've received requests from BBC, Al Jazeera, Bloomberg, Oprah Daily, and Michelle Obama's Foundation. And the Q1 growth forecast? I asked. He hesitated a second, still adjusting to the fact that his boss wasn't rattled. Projected revenue increased 12% overnight after the broadcast. Good, I said, because I had not built my empire for validation. I built it for impact. That afternoon, another message came in from my mother. Just one line. No excuses. No manipulation. Just, if we had known you had nothing, would that have been enough for us to love you? I didn't reply. She already knew the answer. Late that night, I stepped outside onto my small balcony. The city hummed quietly below, delivery bikes, headlights, music in the distance. Nothing about my surroundings revealed the truth. Not the car I drove. Not the shoes on my feet. Not the building I lived in. I built a $9 billion empire in silence. And I could disappear again, if I wanted. People think power is loud. But the strongest form of power is being completely unseen. Until you choose otherwise. I took a breath. Cold air. Clear mind. For the first time in 6 years, I felt perfectly, beautifully free. And that is how a daughter they called a failure walked away as a silent billionaire. No shouting. No dramatic speeches. No need to prove herself to anyone. Because sometimes the loudest revenge is quiet success. Sometimes the richest clapback is refusing to explain anything at all. Remember this. People will judge you when they think you're losing and rewrite their love when they learn you're winning. Let them. You don't owe explanations. You don't owe access. You owe yourself the life they said you couldn't build. So if you're watching this and you feel overlooked, underestimated, laughed at, doubted, good. You are in your invisibility era. The world won't see what you're building until you decide they will. And when that day comes, walk in like Jade did, calm, smiling, unstoppable. Because the same people calling you foolish today will call you brilliant tomorrow. If this story hit a nerve, drop a fire in the comments. Comment, I believe in quiet success. If you felt this, tell me where you're watching from, city and country.